Hi, AJ Hartley here, novelist, Shakespeare professor, baby metal fan, and today I'm gonna be talking about one of the last songs on the album, the new album Metal Forth, which I haven't spoken about before, Algorithm. Pause there. Great start. So the tagline for the song is Kowareso na ai no shirueto. So the fragile silhouette of love. As usual, I'm going to be working from Capable Paramedics. Excellent translation. I've seen a few translations online. This is a tricky song, and nailing down the words doesn't always solve the problems. As usual, my focus here is going to be on trying to build a sense of the overall meaning of the thing, or at least some of the possible meanings that are in play. The problem with the song is kind of visible right from the start. Kokoro no Kizuato o eguta tsumetai yoru. So Capable Paramedic is translating that as I gouged the scars in my heart on a chilling night. No pain, no gain. I bet everything I had and reached out my trembling hand. One of the things that's clear from the song from the start is that unlike some of the other songs that we've been talking about recently, there are very few pronouns here. So it's not always clear whether the person speaking is the only person involved or whether there's a you somewhere out there that this is referencing. If so, that is not explicit, but the song is framed as being somehow about love. The implication of that is that it involves more than one person in most conventional readings, right? So we don't know exactly where that person is. But this idea of gouging the scars in my heart on a chilly night suggests past pain, right? The song is going to be a kind of meditation on time, including things that have happened in the past and looking to the future. Very baby metal kind of theme. No pain, no gain. So that's self-evident. And I think that in a way, that's the kind of hallmark of the song. The idea that we're looking back on things that are difficult, but we recognize that it's only through difficulty that we gain experience and the intensity of living. That's the way I'm reading it primarily. It's so good. I'm trying to stay analytical, but I do love this. It's reminiscent of earlier baby metal. And going back all the way to the first album, though, I think it for me, it's also tripping memories of things like Arcadia in that sort of fairly frantic. It's got a little bit of that math metal, prog rock, time shifts and signature movements, but it also has this really sort of forward pushing drive and the speed to it, but there's melody, there's tune. I love the way Sue's voice functions in this. Anyway, so in a world illuminated by a wandering light, I'll kill my flooded pain. This is how Capable Paramedic is translating it. So the light is inconstant, right? It's not clear. We're trying to look back on things and try to make sense of them, but it's hard to see. But I'm going to eliminate the pain in sort of moving forward. And then we hit this chorus section, kurikaesu kono rizumu. The rhythm is repeated. So ai wa algorithm. So love is an algorithm. And this is the kind of obviously where the title comes from, and it's the core idea that runs through the song. And it raises some real questions. Algorithm, spelt with an S. So the first thing to acknowledge, of course, is that in Japanese pronunciation of English words, there is no real distinction between the S sound and the TH sound. So the algorithm is likely to come out sounding like algorithm. But the choice of the song to spell it with an S raises questions as to whether we're making a distinction between algorithm and algorithm, while simultaneously punning on rhythm, i.e. the song, the sound of the song. And again, it's reminiscent of things like syncopation and possibly even something like kagero, where the feelings of intensity and love and all the rest of it are sort of connected to music and dance. Night Night Burn is another good example. So rizumu means rhythm in that sense, right? Now, is there a difference between algorithm and algorithm? This is tricky. Algorithm is an older form of the word, and it's used to differentiate in the sort of medieval period. Algorithm is used to denotate Arabic numerals, right? The kind of number systems that we generally use today, as opposed to, say, Roman numerals. I'll come back to that in a second. In the modern sense, of course, algorithm simply means kind of mathematical processes and ways of making calculations. Couple of things that I think have to be added to that. In the most common use of the term today, when we talk about algorithm, the way that it's used more often than in any other sense, I think, is when we're talking about computational methodologies used on the internet, used in social media, as ways of channeling what people want, or at least what they're going to get, right? And you think about something like Facebook, and people complain about this all the time, where they're only seeing posts and comments from certain friends because in the past you have responded to certain kinds of data, certain kinds of stuff coming across your feed, and some of it you've paid attention to, some of it you've not paid attention to, some of it you've actively disliked. And the algorithms within the system have taken those choices of yours on board, and they're using it to tailor the social media experience to what it thinks you want in order to get more clicks, more hits, more advertising revenue, and so on. I think this is the most common use of the word algorithm today. So bear that in mind for a second. So that the rhythm is repeated. Yes, love is an algorithm. You cannot erase your past and future by shouting. Then the rhythm is hidden. Yes, love is an algorithm. Burn your desire out with the fire from your burning heart. So I think a couple of things are clear from this, and one of them is a very baby metal thing, right? There's a sense of the past, there's a sense of the future, and there's a sense of living in the present, a sense of the importance of channeling your energies into what you can do now, rather than whining or complaining or trying to rewrite the past or anticipate a future which is kind of unknown. So it's very presentist. Now, in what sense is love an algorithm? Let's just do the algorithm part first. Well, if we think of algorithms as being a network of choices and preferences that form the reality in which you live, how is love like that? Well, in a couple of ways, right? For one thing, if we're talking about romantic love, if you have a relationship with somebody, that relationship has come from an incredibly complicated, unpredictable network of incidents, events, choices, happenstances, synchronicities, all the things that have brought two people together. Out of all the people in the universe, all the possible connections. You have formed a connection with this one person, and in that very traditional Japanese style, there's that sense of if it's a good relationship, it's a destined relationship. It's that red thread of destiny again that ties people together. But in fact, of course, whether you believe in that kind of spiritual fatalism to it, love is a series of complicated coincidences. If you think about any relationship that you've ever been in and you think, how did I get together with that person in the first place? For better or worse, right? And you think back and you think, everything in your life is built out of all these possible things that have happened in the past. And each one of them could have gone differently. My wife and I met in Japan. She's Japanese American. And, if somebody had said to me when I was about 14 that I would finish up being a Shakespeare professor and a novelist, living in the United States, married to a Japanese American woman who I met in Japan, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought that was just impossible. I would not have been able to imagine that future because I wouldn't have been able to imagine how I got there. And the truth, of course, is, lots of things in my personal history led to these sort of odd things happening and to meeting this one particular person. And then there's a new set of algorithm, not just in the things that bring you together in the first place, but then the algorithm and the chemistry of a relationship, the things that you have in common, the points of contact, the similarities in experience and attitudes and sense of humor and ideologies and all these other things that make that relationship work. So it's like you're moving towards this one thing from this infinite number of possibilities, right? In that sense, it's an algorithm which is simultaneously moving towards something that feels destined, but is also, in a weird kind of way, arbitrary, right? Unless you believe that all those little choices, everything that you have done that brings you to this point with this one person, is somehow preordained by God or whatever, then you have to acknowledge that it's happenstance. It's a series of coincidences. And if those coincidences had gone differently, you'd probably be with somebody else. And maybe you'd be equally happy and maybe you wouldn't. The difficulty is that accepting that the things that have brought you together were things that were sort of outside your control. In that sense, it's an algorithm. And in the sense of, if you're looking at, particularly if you're looking past to a relationship that has ended, then it's more than there's plenty more fish in the sea. It's also about how those fish get caught, how your lives intertwine with this particular fish. This is a terrible metaphor, but you see what I'm saying, right? The idea of love as an algorithm is this massive, complicated, computational system that brings you together with somebody. And if the one relationship that you've been in has failed, then the upside of that is that now you're in a different algorithm, and maybe that will generate something else. Now, if we want to think of the word as algorithm, the Arabic thing, one possibility, and it's only a possibility, and I don't believe that the songwriters considered this, but one possibility is that one of the major things that separated the use of Arabic numerals from Roman numerals is that in Roman numerals, there's no zero. In Arabic numerals, they had this thing which has been transliterated as cipher. Cipher meaning emptiness, meaning nothing. The zero, which is a number. And the number also then gives you, the number zero gives you also the possibility for minus numbers, and therefore creates a whole different kind of calculation. So one possibility in their choice of going with algorithm with an S as opposed to algorithm is that it opens up the possibility for absence, for nothingness. So that amongst the various algorithms of love is the one where you finish up alone, by yourself. Am I overreading? Probably, but I actually find it kind of productive as a thought, as an idea to hold with you as you listen to the song. So I'm going to hold on to that for a bit. But I think the bottom line is Love is an algorithm. The rhythm itself is hidden, right? And again, we're conflating the rhythm of algorithm with the rhythm of the music. We can't see the forces that bring you together with somebody. What you can do is you can burn out your desire from the fire of your heart. In other words, you don't know how long the relationships are going to last. Maybe they move on to something else. In a sense, none of it makes any clear sense to you. You're just being shuttled from one relationship to another, or you're being moved towards some kind of destined purpose, but you can't see it. What you can do is live intensely in the moment with passion. And that's the only thing that counts. And that to me is a very baby metal idea. The idea that what you do is you hold on to the fire within. Capable Paramedic translates that first line as, "It stabbed the deepest spot in my memory with an empty smile." And he says he's doing that deliberately to retain a sense of ambiguity, though it's also possible that it could be the empty smile is what did the stabbing, right? So my memory stabbed deep within by an empty smile, which suggests maybe the other person, this relationship has fallen apart. Maybe this person wasn't to be trusted or wasn't feeling as deeply as I was in that moment. And so I'm scarred by this. I'm kind of reading it that way, I think. But as I said, not only are there no pronouns here, but there are no prepositional markers. We don't have a lot of those ga, wa, o, ni kind of things that indicate the relationship between words. So it's one of the reasons I think that I've looked at a number of translations online and people coming up with all kinds of different things. And the machine translations are just, making chaos out of it. So, but I'm reading it that way, as somebody in the past, maybe they were smiling emptily, and that's what I'm remembering now because it was indicative of something wrong with the relationship. No choice, no escape, but to still explore the tangled maze or labyrinth, right? This sense of this confused, puzzled area. And again, because I didn't have a lot of say in it, because I'm merely a little cog in the machine, or in the terms of the song, I'm one of those data points within the algorithm, or I'm the result of the algorithm, yeah? It's so good. I love the intensity of the voice, right? We've just been talking about the passion of living in the moment, and you hear it in her voice. And that's why she's great. And that's why the song works. The phrase kicks back in, but in this time we get puzzle instead of rhythm. So that the puzzle is tried out. We've had a go at it. It's difficult to solve. It's annoying. And then the rhythm is in irons, meaning it's captive. Yes, love is an algorithm. Let your desire be unleashed. So breaking out of those captives, desire, appetite, love, all of these things, right? It's passion. And that's what I mean about what we're hearing in the sound. That sense of seizing the moment, wanting to sort of to make the most of what you have, regardless of what happened in the past, regardless of what might happen in the future. And then we get Momo Metal's contribution. Don't break enough. Don't turn away. Don't break enough. Don't live enough. Don't break enough. Don't turn away. So don't break it now, don't turn away, don't break it now, don't leave me now, and then no pain, no gain. When I first listened to it, I thought maybe this is sort of the voice of the other person trying to hold on to something. But I don't know, that since we come back to the no pain, no gain, I think maybe it's different. I think maybe it's the voice is within the self, within the speaker of the song. I think there's only one voice in the song. I mean, one persona, right? We might be referencing other things and other people, but there's only one actual voice speaking to us. So I think that the growly death voice given us by Momoko is actually a sort of maybe a subconscious part of the Su-metal persona saying, don't give up, don't stop, hold on, keep going. It's so baby metal, it's so Japanese. No pain, no gain. This, again, is that sort of Gambari Masho spirit where it's like, no matter how bad things are, you keep going. Because this is it. This is life. This is the intensity of love and experience and all the rest of it. And you double down and you keep going.
ささやき闇に溶けて消えてく後ろ姿さえ閉じた瞳に焼き付けていたいから今も
It's just gorgeous, isn't it? This sort of hard shift in the song, we get this extra little movement, this middle eight or what you want to call it, which does something completely different, strips away all the heaviness for a second and gives us this beautiful, melodic, lyrical passage with those echoing harmonies in the background that make it sound like this sort of heavenly choir. It's just gorgeous. And the sense is Yoruga Sasayaki. Night whispers, even its retreating figure melts and fades into the dark. And then I close my eyes wanting to burn it's still into my eyelids. Again, Capable Paramedic is treating night as the subject of the sentence. It might be that there is somebody else who's retreating, who's not named. This maybe this person from this prior relationship or something like that. I don't know. I don't know that anybody could make a hard, convincing argument for this because it can go either way. Because again, we don't have those subject-object markers. So is it somebody else who's retreating into the sort of whispering night? And I'm trying to remember that moment. This is reminiscent of a couple of other songs that we've heard recently from them. Or is it night itself, which is doing the whispering and retreating? I don't know. If the night is retreating, then this is a moment of dawn, I guess. But we're trying to hold on to the image of something going into the darkness and trying to burn it into my eyelids, which makes me think maybe that this is also somehow connected to this other relationship that I'm still trying to sort of hold on to. It's reminiscent of something like Sunset Kiss, the recent Polyphia collaboration, which I think has something of that same sort of nostalgic poignancy. But whereas that song was quite sort of mellow and reflective, this is come out the other side of whatever that past relationship was, if it is a relationship, and we're pushing forward and we're resolving to continue to live in the moment of the present, I think. So great, you know, I mean, I'm trying to do all this sort of complicated intellectual explanation and the song comes in, it's like, wow, yeah. You know, when some people do reactions and their response is to sort of dance around and get excited about the music, and I totally get why people like that. I'm trying to do something to sort of process the intellectual content of the song, the meaning. Not because that's an appropriate response to the song, but if you have something of a sense of what the song is about, you can then take that with you and then listen to the song with all its intensity and power and so on. So that's what I'm doing. But yes. So anyway, the mechanism never ceases. So love is an algorithm. I can't stop. He says begging madly. I think the idea is that it's a painful process. and it's sort of endless. I'm in it and I keep going. And then Capable Paramedic says the rhythm is entrusted. And I think the implication is the rhythm's entrusted to me. And so again, we've got that sense of the rhythm and the algorithm somehow coming together. And the rhythm is one of the ways that you survive the algorithm, right? All the sort of the chaos and the problems and the pain of love gets mutated through the music. And my desire and my passion come out not just in terms of living and relationships and romance and love and all that sort of stuff, but my desire comes out through the making of music or the listening to music. And as I said before, it's like some of those other songs where we're talking about dancing through the pain or dancing to find the sort of the joy of the moment. So that's the core pun of the song, right? Rhythm and algorithm. Such a great finish. Such a great finish. I love the way that a lot of the songs on this album have a kind of crispness to them, that we get the point, we get the message, and there's none of that sort of repeat fade because we don't quite know how to end the song. We get this sort of point, an exclamation mark on the end of it, and it finishes. The lyric here, we get that monogram from the beginning, a fragile silhouette of love, which might shatter if I close my eyes now. The beat of love iterates, it repeats. That's the rhythm, a real thing, beating out. Let the passing time be scorched with your burning love. So it's a celebration of the intensity of love in spite of the possibility of pain. And I'm holding on to this thing and I'm pursuing it and I'm doubling down, and I'm doing that both through actual love in life, in relationships, in whatever, but also through the music and the rhythm of the algorithm that is life, that is all the things that connect us and complicate us and move us forward and through difficulties towards good things and bad things. All of that is like, it's a rhythm because it's endless, but I'm also using the rhythm of the music that I'm making and that we're listening to channel the same thing. So passion, yeah, and persistence and the intensity of those things. I don't know that I can offer a very simple read of the song, given the sort of complexity and the difficulty of some of the translation, but to me, that's what it's about. And I like that because it fits with the tonality of the song, the intensity of it, the passion of it. There's an exhilaration, right? The speed of the lyric, the sweep of those melodies and the sort of ups and downs of it. I love that. And it takes you on this sort of journey and this frantic, breathless kind of intensity. It's great stuff. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. All right. As ever, please like, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts on the song, and argue with me if you wish. Check out my books. I'm foregrounding just my Japanese related stuff on this channel. So that's the Hideki Smith series. Books 1 and 2 are out in English. Book 1 is also now out in an excellent Japanese translation, available in Japan on Amazon and such. It's available in the US as well. There's also a bilingual edition. So if you're interested in learning Japanese, great way to have both the English text and the Japanese text. Check out my Patreon page. My patrons get to see these videos before anybody else, and their support keeps this channel, which is not monetized, in business. I have a little Dashery store thing for shirts and mugs and such, including a couple of Baby Metal items, which I'm quite pleased with. And that's all. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.